Welcome to the show, everybody. Happy to be in studio. Happy to have you listening. I'm TJ Carpenter. This is the TJ Carpenter Show. As always, show your support for this show by going to mybookie.lv. Enter that promo code PHANTOM, whoosh, right there, PHANTOM, F-A-N-T-O-M, 50% bonus cash on your first deposit by going to mybookie.lv. Fastest payouts of any online book. So MyBookie is the way to go for all of you gambling degenerates. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about David Irving and his video message for the Cowboys Nation. He's saying change your policy, NFL. It's a stupid policy for X, Y, and Z reasons. So we'll get into that, how it affects the Cowboys. So we're going to do that. And then, of course, also we'll talk a little bit about all of the free agency things. I know everybody's upset with Jerry Jones, and some people are upset with Jason Garrett, and other people are upset with DeMarcus Lawrence. There's all kinds of people to be upset at, and I understand why you're upset at them. But you know, it's the off season, so I think this is the moment in which there is the most amount of anger that is directed at no one in particular, just because there's no football. So we'll get into that as well as the show goes on. Let's get into some comments. By the way, please participate in our survey. Our survey, which the information I just lost. So if Zach or Ari could post the survey information, that would be fantastic. We're trying to get better. In particular, I'm trying to get better. I know that Ari and Zach would also like me to get better as well. So please, everybody, take the survey and tell me how much I suck. Good Friday, TJ. That's what Joe's saying. Is today Good Friday? I thought it was, what is it? Fat Tuesday, Ash Wednesday, Fish Thursday? Is that right? Good Friday. What's Thursday? There's Fat Tuesday, there's Skinny Monday, Fat Tuesday, Ash Wednesday, Fish Thursday, and then Good Friday. What's Thursday? I don't know what Thursday is. I just made that up. I don't think that it's Fish Thursday, but it could be Fish Thursday. I'm not Catholic, so I don't know. Chris says, Night at the Roxbury type music. Do you guys like the music? I think that music is really, really good to start the show. Some people don't really like it. Michael's in the house, Rick's in the house, Daniel's in the house. I was getting a lot of shit from people on Ari's show. What's that about? Do people think that I don't have good Cowboys takes? I feel like my takes on the Cowboys are pretty rational, right? How many wins do you want for the Cowboys this year? I think it's probably going to be around 10-6 because I haven't seen the Cowboys really make any notable improvements in any way. So I'm going to assume that they're probably going to be about as good as they were last year. Give or take a few players, give or take a few wins, give or take a few touchdowns. But is anybody expecting Dak Prescott to have some sort of breakout year this coming season? What would indicate that? Is anybody expecting Ezekiel Elliott to have some sort of like 2,000-yard season? Although I would say of all of the potential breakouts, that's the most likely that Ezekiel Elliott would break out and have a good season. Amari, are you expecting something you didn't see last season, and why are you expecting that? I think it's a good question to ask because as much as the Cowboys are preaching that they're all in, as much as the Cowboys are preaching that they're making big moves, I've yet to see any big moves. I haven't seen any major changes. I haven't seen them move off of any singular position, including their head coach. So, like, what am I basing this appreciable improvement off of? You either have to believe that they weren't that far off last year to believe that they're going to win the Super Bowl this year, or you have to believe that they made some sort of drastic improvement to make them good enough to be a contender, and I haven't seen that improvement. So what are you basing it off of? If you think they're going to have some sort of big year this coming season, why? What is it? Let's see. Should D-Ware come back? Lamont asks. D-Ware, I feel like once you go on Dancing with the Stars, you're pretty much out of the NFL. I think if you have crossed the threshold of Dancing with the Stars, wearing spandex, costumes, you're dressing up as Disney characters, you're learning the mazurka, you're doing a paso doble. They love the paso doble on Dancing with the Stars. I don't even know what a paso doble is. But once you've done one, if you've done the paso doble, you are no longer welcome in the NFL. I think that's a rule. I think they wrote that into the last CBA. No pasodobles. Chris says, ass Wednesday? Tyson, Rick, for real, make sure you there when he go broke. Who? Who's going broke? David Irving? Oh, I stand with David Irving. Yeah, I don't know if David Irving's going to go broke, but let's get into the David Irving stuff. Joe says Thursday is weed day. Okay. But I thought that you had to do that stuff before Wednesday. Wednesday is it's the beginning of Lent, right? It's the beginning of Lent. Anytime I say the word Lent, I just think of like pocket lint, or maybe some like lint that gets stuck in your belly button, something like that. Chris says Ari has pissed off a lot of viewers this week. Okay, Chris, explain why. Why has Ari pissed off a lot of viewers this week, and how do I avoid doing that? Because I don't want to piss off a lot of viewers this week. I want people to continue to watch this show. Because I like talking to you guys. I like getting your feedback. I like it when you guys disagree with me. I like differing opinions. That's what's good about the show, is that we can have differing opinions and it's okay. A lot of places that's not okay. If you disagree with the host, they're going to yell at you and call you names. And I've never been into that. Although I've worked with a lot of radio hosts who are that way. No, I think your opinion is valid. I just want to know why you think what you think. So it's one thing to say, I believe the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. Dallas Cowboys for life. But I need some explanation. I want some explanation as to why that's true for you. If it has to be detailed. That's the one thing that I want out of the viewers of this show and the people who comment on a regular basis is, give me some details. We're all about, we got an hour here. We got an hour to kill. So let's get into some details. Why do you think the Cowboys are going to be better than they were last season? Because right now, I don't think they're going to be bad. I'm just saying I don't think they're going to be improved. What is it about the Cowboys that makes you think that they're improved? Because right now, what I see is that there are a lot of Cowboys defensive linemen getting suspended, and there's a lot of defensive linemen for the Cowboys who are refusing to play for the Cowboys this coming season. And so if you're in that realm where you've got guys making stances on marijuana, you got guys who are getting suspended for violations of the the substance abuse policy, you've got guys who are refusing to play for their contracts. That doesn't seem like a reason to believe the Cowboys are going to be better next season. So if it's not the defense, which defense minus 3 of your best linemen is not a better defense, what are you basing it off of? I just want some details from you guys, because I'm saying 10-6. That's my number. I think they're a 10-6 team right now. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I don't respect the Giants or the moron Redskins who traded for Case Keenum this week. I mean, or that hasn't actually gone through yet, but I don't understand what the Redskins are thinking. If the Redskins wanted to float this rumor out there that they were interested so they could get some feedback from the rest of the country, the feedback is saying, don't do it, Redskins. This is a mistake. You think the Redskins are going to be better with Case Keenum next year? No. He isn't anything. He's nothing. Keenum would look really good in an AAF uniform. If the San Antonio Commanders want to sign him to a contract, I think that's a good move for the San Antonio Commanders. They're the Commanders, right? I hope I got that right. They're like the sword, shield thing. All right, let's see here. Ginny, the rose-colored glasses are hoping that Kitna helps Dak. I mean, that's a really minor thing. How much is John Kitna going to be able to help Dak Prescott? What's Kitna going to be able to say? Is there some sort of magic spell that he's going to whisper into Dak Prescott's ear that all of a sudden makes him a more accurate passer, or a passer who makes better decisions? I think that's a better way to put it, because I don't think he's inaccurate. I think he's not accurate on the right throws. Like, being accurate on a dump-off pass is, you're Alex Smith. Being accurate on a really good throw downfield that picks up 20, 30 yards, that throws a receiver open, like, those are the kinds of plays that you want to see, next-level plays from Dak Prescott that he doesn't really make. He does a pretty good job of throwing to the open guy. He doesn't do a great job of throwing a guy open, or seeing where the play is, understanding the motion of the defense. He's not there yet. I'm not saying he can't get there, but Is John Kitna going to be able to help Dak Prescott get to that point? I don't know. No one does. That's the point. No one knows if John Kitna is going to be good for Dak Prescott or not because we haven't seen him play any games with John Kitna as the QB coach. Is Kellen Moore going to make Kellen Moore also a pretty good AAF quarterback, I would say. He's a starter in the AAF. But, you know, Kellen Moore's not – we don't know what he is as an offensive coordinator. And if you think you know what he is as an offensive coordinator, don't. Just stop thinking because whatever path that your assumptions take you down – is totally blind. You have no idea whether or not he's good as an offensive coordinator or not. We don't know. There is and by the way, there has been nothing since he was hired as the offensive coordinator that could allow you to determine whether or not he was good or not. So if you think he's good, you're not. It's not a belief. It's a hope. You're hoping he's going to be good. You don't believe he's going to be good because it's impossible to believe in something that doesn't exist yet. Right? There's nothing about Kellen Moore that has happened that would lead you to believe he's going to be a good offensive coordinator, other than the fact that he was hired as the offensive coordinator. That's it. So do you trust Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and Jason Garrett's ability to determine who's a good offensive coordinator that much that you would assume just because they hired him as the OC that he is a good OC? How many guys in the league could you say that about? I can say that right now about Bill Belichick and Andy Reid, and that's about it. There's nobody else who I would assume, just based off of them being hired by an organization, that they're good at their job. I can't make that assumption. I have no idea. First-time coordinator, if you're being hired as a first-time coordinator by somebody other than Andy Reid or Bill Belichick, I don't know if you're any good at your job. So it's not like I'm being unfair to the Cowboys. That's my general rule for 30 out of the 32 NFL teams. Name another coach who you think, it's like, oh, well, if they got hired by that guy, he must be really good at his job. Who other than the two guys I just mentioned, Andy Reid and Bill Belichick, who is that? You don't assume that the guy who Pete Carroll hires is going to be good at his job. You don't assume that the guy Sean McVay hires is going to be good at his job. Because we don't really know how good Sean McVay is at his job yet. He's done a good job so far. I think he's trending upward. There's no question about that, but I'm not sitting here saying that in 15 years we're going to say Sean McVay's the best coach in the league because I don't know that to be true. I don't have enough data to make that assertion. So I certainly can't make that assertion about Kellen Moore. Chris says, Trump watched the Super Bowl with the owner of the parlor Robert Kraft got his rub and tug at. That is unbelievable to me. I could not believe that story when I saw it. But I say I couldn't believe it. I can't believe it about anybody but Donald Trump. So if it's Trump, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But with anybody else, it's like, how? Who would do that? Donald Trump would do that. Let's see. Michael says, Ari lent you that shirt. This shirt? Do you guys like this shirt? It's a Joker. Or it's a Jack. I think it's a Jack. This is a Jack. Like a playing card. Sean, Ari went nuts after that got rid of his chicken picture. What? Clarify that for me, Sean. Rick says, I will stand with him on it, bro. If you want my backstory, I'd be glad to talk about it. I'm sick of the opioid epidemic in this country. I have personal reasons for it. If you want to know more, message me and I'll tell you why. Okay. So let's get into this. This is David Irving yesterday releasing a video that explains to his followers his stance. Okay, so backstory, David Irving's been suspended for violation of the substance abuse policy. Clearly, it is marijuana related. For those who are unaware, marijuana is still federally illegal, but it's legal in a lot of states, including Massachusetts, Colorado, California now. I think there's like 10 states now that legalize marijuana. The sentiment on it has changed dramatically, but the law federally hasn't. So the NFL I don't know if they're going to include it in the next CBA or not, but I would say if you start seeing this many players come out and say, I'm not playing in the league until you change your substance abuse policy to not include marijuana, until that happens, I don't know what the future of this looks like. If guys are just going to wait to make this stance until they get caught, or what. But it's definitely a problem for the NFL. And it's going to be a problem, especially if really, really good players like Josh Gordon. David Irving's not on Josh Gordon's level, but he's a good player. So here is David Irving explaining his stance on marijuana earlier this week.
That's the blunt, bro. It's too weed, you're addicted to this and that. I mean, shit, if I'm going to be addicted to something, I'd rather be marijuana, which is medical. It's a medicine. I do not consider it a drug, rather than the Xanax bars or the Hydros or the Seroquel and all that crazy shit that they feed you, you know? So like I said, it ain't about smoking weed. How many NBA players you see getting in trouble about this? How many coaches you see getting in trouble about this? How many baseball players getting in trouble? How many UFC players getting in trouble? How many actors? You know, how many people getting in trouble over it? Not many, but you do see us football players. NFL gonna. I love. Let's.
All right, so there you go. There is David Irving talking a little bit about his thoughts. You know, he doesn't view marijuana as a drug or as a recreational drug. He views it as medicine. So that's the first thing. I wouldn't go that direction, honestly, because I think there are a lot of people who view it in a different way. And it's clearly most people who take marijuana use it recreationally. But the point that I think he made that is totally legitimate is, how many coaches do you see getting popped for this? How many? You don't see any owners getting popped for marijuana. You don't see any owners getting popped for this, that, or the other. If you want to test for recreational drugs, I don't think that they should have a recreational drug testing policy in the NFL at all, unless they want to test everyone, every employee, every coach, every owner, to the level that they test athletes. Now, if you want to do PED testing for athletes and not anybody else, fine. I'm fine with that. But if you want to do recreational testing, you got to test everybody, because you're saying that this is morally wrong as a league. You're saying that this is something that impacts our league in a negative way. We don't want the press from it. We don't think people should be doing these drugs, period. Therefore, you can't just hold players to that standard and not owners and not coaches and not everybody has to get tested equally. Every single one. No more random testing for recreational drugs. It's got to be everybody gets tested the same amount every time, which means that if you're the Cowboys, Jerry Jones is getting tested right. He's in the same line with the same piss test guy, as he's in line waiting patiently for his turn to give a sample to the doctor who is there to test the entire Cowboys organization. All of them. All at once. He has to be treated the exact same way. And every single owner would apply. Every single coach would apply. Every single employee would apply in your organization. That's a really good point. David Irving's 100% right about that. Chris just says fart noise. Rick says, I was addicted to pills, pushed to me by the Army. Yeah, that shit's real. Like, they do that in the Army, they do that in the NFL, they do that in pretty much any league that's got pain issues. If you have some sort of doctor who's related with your organization, pretty much all of them push oxy. They all push opioids of some sort. It's pretty bad. I mean, there's a lot of documentaries out there about the opioid epidemic in America, especially around West Virginia. It's pretty terrible. Kentucky is a really bad state for that as well. But, you know, I think everybody's kind of understanding that there is a problem here, but nobody wants to do anything about it. That's what's so frustrating about this, right? Is that it doesn't make sense to anyone. I haven't heard a single person say, oh yeah, the way that things are working right now, perfect. Everything makes sense. It doesn't make sense to anybody. Nobody thinks that people should be hooked on pills. People don't want you to be addicted to marijuana either, which you can get addicted. You can absolutely get addicted to marijuana. You can get addicted to anything. You can be addicted to water. It doesn't matter. You can be addicted to anything, and certainly anybody's anybody who's doing any drug if we're talking about some sort of recreational drug, there's no question that you can get addicted to it. It may not be sort of like the physical hook that heroin or crack or other drugs will get you on, where you get sweats and things like that, you get withdrawal symptoms. It may not be like that, but there's absolutely like a psychological component to anything that makes you feel good. So I can absolutely buy that's an issue. But if somebody's using it for pain, especially if you're looking at what drugs like pills will do to your body versus what alcohol will do to your body versus what pot will do to your body, it's like there's no question that the weed category is the least harmful to you physically of those three. And those are the three most common ways that people manage pain: pills, alcohol, weed. And so it's weird that the one that's illegal federally is the one that's the least harmful. And that doesn't make sense to anybody. But everybody is so built up into the way that they were raised, that one thing is okay, the other thing is okay, this one's not okay, that it causes a lot of problems. Causes a lot of resistance to a movement that would ultimately be good for everybody in the NFL. It would be good for everybody outside of the NFL. Moses says, does Dallas need to change the way they run their offense? Do you think they're using Dak the wrong way? I do think they're using Dak the wrong way. I think their whole offense is misapplied. All of it. Patty says, at least the drama is happening off season and not in the middle of the season. That's a good point, Patty. You would much rather have drama in the off season versus the regular season. The way I think this is going to go is that the drama that has followed the Cowboys into the offseason will follow them into the regular season, and it will continue to follow them until they have a new coach. Michael says, know your cards, TJ, LOL. I don't know what that means. Oh, because of the shirt, yeah. Tyson says, so you walk away from the NFL, nobody cares, nobody forces him to take anything, stop with the excuses. Sorry, so that's another good point Tyson brings up, right? Regardless of what your business is, regardless of what the substance, regardless of what the rule is, if you went to a company that was, let's say you went to the mustard company, and the mustard company says, under no circumstances are you allowed to eat mayonnaise on your sandwiches in public. You can't do it. We're going to test you for mayonnaise. We don't want any mayonnaise near our product because we're anti-mayonnaise at the mustard factory. And that's a part of you working there. And if you're like, that's a ridiculous rule, I think that's totally stupid, I'm not going to work for you. That's what David Irving is saying. He's like, I'm not going to work for you until you change your policy. I'm totally fine with David Irving's stance on that. But if you want to say, it's not my fault, I didn't know better, I was ignorant about the rules, this is a stupid rule, it shouldn't apply to me, I shouldn't have to face the consequences of my actions in this regard, I don't know if I can get on board with that. If you are in a place where you are being forced to choose between a substance that you want to do and a career that's going to get you millions of dollars, I would say, your priorities seem out of whack if you're choosing the substance over the money. Because the money you can do a lot of stuff with, right? If you're in the NFL, if you're David Irving, you're getting paid by the Cowboys. As long as you're smart about it, you can get away with pretty much anything when it comes to substances, if you're smart about it. But David Irving's kind of lazy. He's been kind of lazy about it. So that's really hurt him in the public eye. And it's hurt him with a lot of Cowboys fans who are saying, why would you waste this opportunity you've been given? And I say that all the time. I said it about Randy Gregory. I said it about David Irving. I've said it about Josh Gordon. Look, you just want to shake him. You just want to shake him by the face and say, look, man, you are squandering your opportunity for nothing, And to him, it may not be nothing, right? To him, it's like, man, this is my body, this is my life. I have pain. I need to manage it, and I'm not going to manage it with stuff that's going to destroy my body, destroy me from the inside out. That's a really legitimate concern. That's a really legitimate cause to handle. But if you're David Irving, instead of waiting until you get popped on a test, have that stance before. Have that stance consistently all the time. Advocate for a change in the rules. Get other people to advocate for a change in the rules. create an arm of lobbying for that rule to change. Because they can change it anytime they want to. They can call a meeting of the owners and say, we have a problem, we need to change this rule, let's change it right now. And then the counter argument would be, yeah, but this is allowing us to fine players, this is allowing us to control our workforce, this is allowing us to dictate the power, and I don't want to give up that power, so I don't want to change the rule. That is workforce management 101. Always make sure that your workforce is in violation of something. It's a little 1984 Orwellian, if you ask me, but that's the way companies run their business. That's the way companies operate. You want to make sure that you have enough rules in your handbook that somebody is always in violation of something in the handbook so that you can fire them at any time. That's just how corporate America works. Do you ever wonder why the user agreement's so thick? Do you ever wonder why the handbook that they hand you when you get employed at a big company is so thick? It's because they want to have a million different things that they have a policy on, so that you're almost guaranteed to be in violation of something. It's the same way that municipal violations work. Municipal violations work so that you're either breaking the speed limit, you're either breaking the parking issues, you're in violation of some kind of building code, you're in violation of some kind of walking code. That was one of the problems in Ferguson, Missouri, was that it wasn't that a police officer had gotten into an altercation with a person, although that's what sparked it. It was the fact that you had a population that was 93% black, and the police force was 89% white, and also the municipal violations that they had basically they were constantly taxing and imprisoning people in that community because they were always in violation of something and they couldn't pay their fines, so they ended up escalating those fines to jail time. And then that's what created so much animosity in that community towards the police force. This is all true. Like, this is stuff that happened. And that kind of same thing happens here in the NFL too, where it's like, well, everybody's in violation of something. It's up to us to whether or not we decide we want that violation to harm them. And if we do, if we want to get rid of somebody for that, we can do it. And we've got that power. That's what they want. That's how the NFL operates. That's what you're up against. Let's catch up to some comments here. Joe says, I'm addicted to pasta. I need help. Rick, you're talking to Tyson. G says, I'm addicted to tortillas. Oscar, too many hits these players take. Pain reliever meds don't work. It leads to addiction. MJ message, when you heat the leaves and use the oils to relieve pain. I'm addicted to Whataburger. That's what Chris said. Mauricio, I'm addicted to not being addicted. G, what's up, Wade? Zetterberg in the house. That's right, just checking in. Great, what's up? What's up, Wade? Wade says, I'm addicted to making fun of the Cowboys and their failures over the last 2 decades. That's easy. Easy thing to get addicted to, especially if you're a fan of another NFC East team. Sean Moore, all right, I'm out. Shop D-Law and fix the D-line for the future and save that cash. Don't be afraid to learn from the Pats. Big Pharma, that's what Chris says. Corey, TJ is a fart smeller. Whoops, I meant smart fella. Yeah, both of those are true. Chris, Jay Jeezy is a lame dick, duck coach. The drama will be there, plus it's the Cowboys. There's always drama. That's true. Oscar, make sure the mayo is in a Whataburger. Wade, the NFL makes serious bank off of these guys and their trained bodies. At least let the guy choose what goes in it. Weed is legal in so many places now, the NFL's jurisdiction should be limited. Michael, imagine if Jobs said you couldn't drink alcohol, the world would shut down. That's right. And also they would never make that declaration because pretty much everybody who's in the structure, in the power structure of corporate America, drinks. Oscar says, what a waste of talent. Michael, exactly. It's about power and control. Chris, are you good at card games, TJ? I'm an okay blackjack guy. We actually won quite a bit of fake money at a blackjack tournament on vacation in December. Although I will say, blackjack's really more about, there's percentages involved, but it's really a luck game. Poker is a little bit more of a strategy game. Poker is a game of percentages. People who love sabermetrics or analytics. Analytics don't give you the right answer. Analytics give you the odds that the answer you have is correct, which is exactly what Texas Hold'em poker is. And so I like that game, but how good am I at it? I mean, I'm not like a World Series of poker player. I've played in a money tournament before. I placed 11th out of 85 people, so that's pretty good. But I was I had 0% chance of winning. I was bleeding chips at the end. Wade says the people have relinquished too much power over themselves, corporations, governments, etc., controlling everything when it shouldn't be like that. People should dictate their own lives. 100% agree, Wade. I'm an individualist fundamentally, so I'm a big believer in individual rights, which seem to be going away more and more every day. Especially like First Amendment rights. I never thought that would ever be a problem for anyone, but man, have First Amendment rights been taking a beating lately. And I don't understand why. It's like comedians are under attack, athletes are under attack. Anyone who says something political at an award ceremony, although I think Hollywood is the most resistant to being harmed by the anti-First Amendment crowd, I will say that they're getting hit by it pretty hard, and I never thought that would happen, and they're getting hit by it. So it's crazy to me. Carrie says, DT David on Yamato, who had a 4.5 sacks last year, got popped for weed yesterday. Oscar, who was the player the Cowboys re-signed today? Wade says TJ's good at BJ's. I don't know. I've never given one. I could be amazing. I have no idea. I just have never tested that out. I don't plan on testing it out either. Chris, I thought the same thing. What did I say? What did I say that was so weird? I shouldn't have abbreviated that, LOL. What? Oh, Michael says, you can't be good at BJ when you think a king is a jack, LOL. You can't be good at blackjack? Oh, is this a king? Is that what this is? This is a king. Oh, okay. That's what you guys are saying. This is a king. The reason I said jack was because I'm wearing a shirt. Let me just turn around here for a second. Show you my shirt. This is my shirt. It says jacks and jokers on the back. So that's why I thought it was a jack, was because, you know, it's a jack. Jacks and jokers. They don't usually do kings. Michael said, I shouldn't have abbreviated that. Corey says, hashtag rub and tug challenge. Wait, I got pooped once. Rocky Holtzclaw. Hey, we got our detective in a romance novel back. Rocky Holtzclaw. That's great. Okay, let's see here. What else we got? Comment-wise. Are you jacked? Am I jacked? I mean, I'm not. I'd like to be jacked. My arms are... I don't go to the gym enough. It's kind of a point of contention right now. My wife goes like 6 times a week. She's in fantastic shape. And then me and my very pasty, doughy body. She is way ahead of me. I'm gonna have to rectify that. I always say, like, I'm trying to get back into the gym, and I always like commit to it, and I say it's like, yeah, I'm gonna get jacked. I'm gonna get jacked up, and it never happens. Ever. Never happens. By the way, guys, take our survey. We posted our survey out there a little while ago, and it's trying to help us get better. We're trying to get better as a company, so please sign up, watch that survey. You'll be entered to win a $50 Amazon gift card. So 50 free bucks just by answering 10 questions, and they're not hard questions. Would love that. Rick says guac recipe, TJ. What is I don't have the recipe. I would need my wife here, but she is painting at present, so I don't think that she's willing to come down here and give us the guac recipe. But she could. One day I'll have to invite her on, and she will make guacamole for everyone on the show. How does that sound? I would love that. That would be a great opportunity for us to do a little cooking show. We can do a little cooking segment right here on the TJ Carpenter Show. Yeah, so let's do this. This is an AMA Friday. I should have put that in. Ask me anything. We'll do that. Ask me anything. I got to spell anything right. Hashtag AMA. Hashtag Friday. All right, there we go. And I will pin that comment. Friday. That's just great. Okay. Ask me anything. First question. Corey, what are our biggest goals in free agency in your opinion, TJ? The Cowboys' biggest goals in free agency are to not to overspend. I think that's their number one goal. If you're asking me what the Cowboys are thinking about their goals, I think their number one goal is don't overspend. Don't overspend. Chris says, I think Dallas misses the playoffs. What? You think Dallas misses the playoffs in the NFC East? Gosh, man, they would have to suck if they, I mean, really. You've got two teams that you should go 4-0 against in the Giants and the Redskins. If you lose any games against those teams, you deserve to miss the playoffs. And then the Eagles, who you swept last season, are sweepable again this year. So I think that the fact that they wouldn't win the NFC East, hard to fathom. It's just such a weak division. I think there are a lot of good things to go along with to go along with the Cowboys in terms of making the playoffs this coming season. I don't believe that they will make the Super Bowl. I think they're going to lose in the playoffs, just like they did last year, which means that you're basically going to be stuck in neutral for 2 straight seasons, all while you miss out on the golden window of talent that you have on your offense. That's what this whole thing comes down to, which is how do we maintain our window or extend our window so that we get as much as we possibly can out of these good players. I think they're running out of time because they refuse to fire Jason Garrett. Wade says, how can you get jacked up if you're wearing a king posing as a jack? That's a good question. It's a good question. I'm just, so this is a king. This is a king. My bad. My bad. Also, I don't work out enough. I think that's the other reason why I'm not jacked. Rick says, send me some as well. Send you some what? Rocky says, TJ, is this your day job? You're good at it. It is my day job, Rocky. Thank you very much for acknowledging that I'm good at it. I will add that to our survey. You have been entered in to win a $50 Amazon gift card just by saying that I'm good at this. Chris says, your wife sat on the floor during the Supercast. She did, and I didn't want her to sit on the floor. She was afraid to be on camera. She's a little camera shy. But I will say, she is coming out with a workout video. I'm very excited about it. She's really good at the she does a lot of different routines. She does some plyometric stuff, and she's beautiful. So I think that all those factors are going to make a fantastic video. We'll post that on Phantom. I don't care. Let's see here. Wade, who do you love more, your wife or your mother? My wife. Hands down. Not even close. Chris, what happened to the albino? Oh, you're talking about Josh? Josh he is living his best life in Kansas City. He's got a lot of stuff going on right now. I'm very happy, very proud of Josh. Josh is a really good talent, and I think that he is going to do very, very well in this business. But he's very young, and right now it's just you can only do so many things when you're figuring your way in this industry. So he's only 24, 25 now. Is he 25? I think he's 25 now. Josh he's doing a ton of on-air stuff right now in Kansas City for 810, and that's where his focus needs to be because he's trying to get better. So hopefully sometime down the road we'll have Josh back on, but right now he's pretty much focused on his Kansas City stuff. Let's see here. Joe, what will be Dallas' biggest free agent signing? Does DeMarcus Lawrence count? I think they're going to get a deal done with DeMarcus Lawrence by July 15th. I don't know if that counts as a free agent signing. Somebody who's not currently on their team, I mean, they already signed a safety, and that safety was not Earl Thomas or Landon Collins, and I know that upset a lot of people. But I don't really think they're going to have one. I don't think they're going to have a high-profile free agent. They're going to have the players that they need to sign sign, and then the rest of it's just going to be kind of smaller moves. I don't think that they're going to have a big free agent signing this offseason. I guess Jason Witten would be their big free agent off-signing. Free agency off-signing. Off-season signing. Rick, who is our edge rusher if we don't sign Tank? Who's left? Because it's not going to be... Who's left? Randy Gregory? Is it Randy Gregory? Who is it? I don't know how to answer that question, Rick. There's so many edge rushers they have who are up in the air right now that have some kind, they don't know if they're even going to have them on the team next year. Wade says they always lose when it matters. That's the Cowboys way. Carrie, New England been playing in a weak division for a decade. Yeah, and they always make the playoffs. Corey, nice pompadour, by the way. I can't rock one to save my life. Thank you for this. You know what? I asked my wife this morning whether or not she liked my hair, and she said it looks the same as it always does, even though I used a comb today. I was very proud of myself that I used an adult hair styling utensil. I usually just use my hands. Warren says we should have gotten rid of Dak at the end of the season. Get rid of Dak? There's no reason to get rid of him. There's no reason to pay him, but there's no reason to get rid of him. Who would you replace him with? No one? Who? You don't have a first-round pick. Who would you replace Dak Prescott with? Nick Foles? Why would you pay Nick Foles when you've got a comparable? There's an argument to me Nick Foles is better. I understand that. But why would you get rid of a comparable talent you're only paying $1 million to for somebody you would have to pay $17 million to? I don't understand that. Chris says, congrats, Mrs. Carpenter. Wade says, yeah, their ticket to the playoffs is always punched, but then they have to win the big games, and they do. Oh, you mean the Patriots? Yeah, the Patriots always win those big games. Pretty much always. There was a stretch there where they didn't at the end of Manning, and then at the right before Manning got to the Broncos, they were losing to the Jets. They lost to the Jets at one point in the playoffs. But for the most part, I don't think that you can contest that the Patriots are good at winning big games. That is a statement of fact. They are very good at it. Carrie, glad you're not making decisions. Replying to Warren T. Oh, who wanted to get rid of Dak. Yeah, that wouldn't have gone well. Wade says, are you okay with a bunch of thirsty dudes watching your wife work out? I thought about that. And, I think that the way Instagram works, I think she's probably going to have a lot more women fans than men fans. And I just based that off of the fact that we went to an Instagram model meetup in Denver once. And I kid you not, it was me, another dude with one of those baby carriers on his chest, and then 80 women in yoga pants. So I'm pretty sure most of the people who are going to be regular fans of hers are going to be women. But I just based that off of the fact that Instagram is predominantly female. Mauricio says, how far will we make it next season? I think divisional round again. I don't know. That's always matchup specific. Wade, biggest offseason move for Dallas, Jerry to the cemetery. # fingers crossed. That is brutal, Wade. But funny. Chris, how will the Jags look with Foles? They'll look like the Jags. in this, Nick Foles is a weird player because I can compare him to Blake Bortles and be like, kind of the same. And then you can also compare him to Carson Wentz, and you're like, he's kind of the same. A lot of it's situational with Nick Foles. How good is the team he's on? And I think there's a lot of questions. Too many questions to know the answer to that surrounding the Jaguars. Chris, does Doncic win Rookie of the Year with the Fakers? Do the Fakers make the playoffs? The Lakers will not make the playoffs. And also, too, I think we've seen that the animosity towards the Lakers in general, a lot of it's towards LeBron James, but I feel like most of it is a combination of people hate the Lakers and then also like to see greatness fail in a big catastrophic way, and that is exactly what's happening right now. So the whole league is anti-Lakers. I'm kind of anti-Lakers. I think LeBron James is still the best basketball player on the planet, but his team doesn't want to play with him, and that's a problem. You can't win games like that. So I don't think the Lakers make the playoffs. I do think Luka wins Rookie of the Year. Rocky, I'm out on the loop. I'm out of the loop. Which safety did the Cowboys sign? By the way, thanks for the entry. Yeah, sure. Who did the Cowboys safety that they signed yesterday? Who was it? I'm looking through right now to see who exactly it was. Is that it? No, that's not it. Gosh, sorry about this, guys. I should have that name off the top of my head, but I can't remember who it was. It wasn't a big name at all. Chris, do you have that name? Chris probably has that name. Oh, Deontay Thompson. There we go. Yeah, Deontay Thompson. So it was like a $470,000 contract. It wasn't much. It was, yeah. Who did Deontay Thompson play for last season? I don't even know. Let's see. Does Rick Shelker make it in the business called sportscasting? Had to throw that one in there. Rick, if you're determined, you will make it. But it takes determination. It does not. Talent can get you in the door faster, but once you're there, once you're in it, it's really just all about want to. That's it. It is really about how determined you are to make it work. Because if you're determined to make it work, you will make it work. I've seen guys who I did not think had a chance in hell to be a broadcaster professionally, not only make it, but make it at a really successful high level because they were so determined. And look, a lot of people will give Chris Berman flack for kind of mailing it in at the end. That guy was so determined to make it as a broadcaster early on in his life that he made it happen. And, everybody makes fun of Berman for being a dick about, people running underneath cameras and being kind of high maintenance and stuff like that. Bill O'Reilly, same way. But those guys make it because they're passionate about it. They get angry at stuff like that because they're really passionate about doing a good job. It is absolutely okay to yell at people in this industry. In fact, if you're not yelling at people, you probably don't care enough. We're being totally honest here. Chris says IG models make a ton of money. Who is Elway going to sign after Flacco sucks? Hopefully no one. Hopefully he'll resign after Flacco sucks. Wade says 80 yoga pants walking around makes having a boner while wearing a baby carrier awkward. Sure. Yeah. It wasn't me. I can report 0 boners while at the Instagram model meetup. Joe says I'm a Rockets fan. Sorry about that, Joe. I hate James Harden and everything he stands for. Chris, where does Mr. Big Chest get traded to? Well, it wasn't Buffalo. We saw that the Buffalo trade didn't go through, and I was totally fine with that. I was totally fine with the Buffalo trade not going through. It didn't go through because he didn't want it to go through. That's how that worked out, man. So I think he's probably going to end up getting traded to... I've heard Denver was in the mix. I don't think Denver's a fit for him because of LA. So it's probably going to be San Francisco. I think it probably winds up as a 49er. Danny in the house. He made it right at the end. Wade says, Boomer is a god. Boomer is one of my favorites. Chris says, fuck it, we'll do it live. Oh, yeah. Well, then, Mavs. All right, well, yeah, the Mavs are not a good team, but I do think Luka Doncic wins Rookie of the Year. That's what we're going to leave it here for today. Oh, Kerry wants to know why I hate James Harden. Because James Harden is a bitch. James Harden will beg for fouls. Every shot's a foul. It's like he can be anywhere on the court. He's just throwing the ball aimlessly. He's trying to get to the foul line too much. The way he plays basketball, he's always traveling. He's just terrible. I hate the way he plays basketball because it's so ticky-tacky. It's so much about attacking the inefficiencies in the rules and not about playing the game straight up like I would like people to play the game. But, that's really more a byproduct of what the NBA has done with the rules, more so than it is James Harden. But Harden is allowed to do these things, and I absolutely hate the fact that he's allowed to do these things. Because I would love to appreciate his shooting the way I appreciate Steph Curry's shooting, but I can't because James Harden is just terrible. It's just awful. The way his philosophy on basketball is the worst. Robert says he's a vagine. Yeah, I agree with that. Mr. Big Chest was first one voted off Masked Singer. I hate Kevin Durant. I hate Harden as well. LOL. I love it. Go Rockets. Good. I'm glad you like it. Sounds like LaBum. That's what Wade's saying. Wade doesn't mind Harden. I understand. Okay, all right. Some people like James Harden. It's fine. You can like James Harden on your own time. This has been the TJ Carpenter Show. I want to thank everybody for watching once again. Show your support for this show by going to mybookie.lv, enter promo code PHANTOM. Get 50% bonus cash on your first deposit. Fastest payouts of any online book are at mybookie.lv. I will see you guys on Monday. Later, y'all.